So, so hi everyone. Jobin here. It's 6 o'clock. We'll wait for 2 more minutes, I suppose, and then I'll start the session and introduce myself. Yes, Vivek, you have some doubt. Do you want to ask something?
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Hi.
Am I audible? Sorry to say that I missed last two live sessions, sir, yesterday and just before that also.
Sorry, what? I didn't get you.
Now, I missed yesterday's live session, sir.
Yesterday's live session was Sahas Barwes. Yeah, there would be a
Yes.
recording. It will be shared with you. So,
Okay, sir.
yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. Okay, so it's 6:02. We have over 19 people over here. Hello, everyone. Good evening, I suppose. And yes, I am Jobin Varughese. I work on my PhD at IISER Tirupati, which in Dr. VV Robin's lab, and my work is mostly on in invasive landscapes and how their biodiversity is distributed, mostly on the avian biodiversity, the bird diversity. Apart from that, I'm also looking at what are the native species of plants that are regenerating in the invasive landscape. So that's my bigger question, that how invasive landscape can also have native biodiversity regenerating or colonizing in it. So yeah, and I am a TA with NPTEL with another person called Chitti Arvind, who's also my colleague and lab mate. So yeah, she also works with Dr. Vivi Robin, and she works on bioacoustics. She will give her own introduction. Probably on Tuesday is her live session. So yeah, so I'll just head. So we have over 2 hours of live. I mean this interactive session, and obviously, I mean. This is just a reflection of what is actually being taught by the faculty. I am no expert in any of the topics that the faculty is teaching. So probably I won't be able to answer all your questions, but I'll definitely note it down and bring it in the next faculty session if possible. And yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to point out. And I would be so the how the session would run is it's more of an interactive session. So in the sense that I have some a few questions that I jotted down, and the answers are, I mean the question is more objective. So there would be like four options for you to pick, and I'll ask people to give the answers. I'll wait for them to type it out. I'll be happier if you just type it in the chat box rather than speak it out, because yeah, I mean it creates a lot of disturbance, and it also helps the others who are usually silent to just type the answer and not interact with the others. I mean, it's beneficial for them as well. So, but apart from that, if you have any doubts on each question, you can surely speak up and ask me. I'll try my best to explain or answer the question as much as possible, as much as I know. But if not, I'll definitely note it down note it down, and yeah, I'll give it to the faculty concerned. So I'll just share my screen before we start. Yeah, can you guys see the screen? See the PPT that's been shared?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Just a sec. Yeah, okay. Cool. All right. So, yeah. So I'll start with the first question. Just a sec. I have to. So this is your first question. I'll let you read the question and give me the answer in the chat box, and yeah, once I think most of us have answered, yeah, I'll just give you a brief explanation of the answer, and if you have any doubts, then you can come up with that or speak up. Okay, so I have I have one, two. over 15 answers. Most of them have said 12%. Three, three or four have said 10%, and a few have said 8%. Okay. Uh, yeah. So, so if you have gone, I mean, all these questions are based on what is being taught in the course right now, and till now nothing is outside the course. But I have been. I mean, I've been encouraged to bring up a little more questions and answers from outside the course, from your reading materials and stuff like that. So, I'll be working on that in the next session. But yeah, so if you have gone through the lectures, then you'll know that. Would somebody want to tell me roughly how many birds are there in the whole world? How many bird species are there in the whole world? Yeah, Rishikesh, I was asking, yeah, the whole world. Yeah, something of that sort. Yeah, 10,800 something, 810, I suppose. And as Rishikesh has already mentioned, that the number of birds in India is 1250 to 1300. I suppose we can be assured that it's more than 1300. So the percentage of birds that makes it up to 12% of the whole world, um, which is actually a big deal. India is, say, the seventh largest country in the world, and it still contains like the 12% of the entire world bird population, which is like quite unique. So, voice is not clearly audible. Sure, okay. Am I audible now? Yeah. All right. So I'll yeah. The answer is 12%. I'll move on to the next question. For people who have joined now, the idea is that you read the question, you answer. If you know the answer, you can write it in the chat box, A, B, C, or D, and yeah, we'll discuss the answers at the end of the questions. I mean, end of each question. So, yeah. Okay, so there are over, so we have over 46 people. I would expect a lot of answers. We have somewhere around 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Again, 15, 16 people who have answered. Some are saying biotronics, some are saying biomimicry, some, yeah. Cool. So I'll just jump to the answer. So the answer is biomimicry. C is the answer. And so biomimicry is the emulation, or emulation is basically copying something of nature. So basically, biomimicry involves copying nature to produce a solution to the human world, human problems. So can someone give me another example of biomimicry if possible? I mean, just look around you. Anything can remind you of an animal. I mean, no, spider is book. Yeah, Govind Sudarshan says Velcro. That's a good answer. Air,
Yes, sir. Velcro from seeds.
Yeah. So those are those huckleberry, yeah, huckleberries. I think, yeah, that's what they call. I'm not sure. Yeah, they stick onto the animal first, and so they have protrusions that look like thorns, and the fur is more like the fur is like little hair. So yeah, so the seeds just get stuck to the hairy surface, and that's what makes the velcro. And velcro is used in shoes, which is very famous. Airplane wings. Spider is not an example of biomimicry as far as I know. Spider is an animal. So purpose of winglets on aircraft wing. What do you mean by that, Pichu? Winglets. Clams and bird beaks. Janvi, this is biomimicry is basically okay. Biomimicry is a solution that has been found for a human problem. So it would involve human or man-made things or I mean, basically man-made things. So clams and bird beaks, both of them are natural. So I'm not sure if that's biomimicry. Sonar is a good example, like from bats and whales. Yeah. So people do understand what this example, the kingfisher beak and the Japanese bullet train, is about. Do they? I mean, can they say yes or no if I should explain about it a little bit? Should I or should I not? Yes or no? Raptor wingtips. All right. All right, so there are no answers, but yeah, somebody said no. It was part of one of the videos. Cool. All right, so I don't need to explain that. So
No need. I think it's fine.
sure. All right. Yes, Vivek, I got it. Yeah. Yeah, this one is quite easy. All right. Answers vary. Wow. So there are some say D is the answer, all of the above, but some also say A and C. Okay. Is Tarun Mithel? Do you want to say something? Tarun, you raised your hand. Is there something you want to speak?
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to figure out how to say yes or no. No problem.
Sure.
I'll.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Yeah. So yeah, the answers are I mean kind of segregated between. I mean separated by, as in there are some A's, some C's, and some D's. Nobody said B, but the answer is actually D. All of the above. Why is it like that? Is because so large and prominent. That's good. I mean insects are very small and not so prominent, so they get ignored a lot. And then easily found and identifiable. Yeah, birds are found in all the continents of the world, so that's a good thing about birds. And nobody said B because they fascinate people. Yes, they do fascinate people. The all the colors and the song, which is how is that important? Is It's important because I mean, so like lions and tigers, birds also become one of those charismatic species, and an animal with charisma can help a lot in conservation. So it becomes like an automatic indicator. I mean, it becomes like an excellent indicator in that sense because people notice these things, these creatures. So answer is D, all of the above. I hope, yeah, we'll move to the next question. This one is very easy. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is quite easy. A lot of answers, right answers. Yes, Sachin, I think, yeah, we are recording it and I have to upload this on my YouTube channel as part of my PMRF obligations. So it'll be there online somewhere. And that YouTube link will also be shared with you in case, yeah. All right, so this is like a unanimously, I think it's the easiest question till now. So, yeah, the answer is eBird, the famous citizen science platform for collecting bird observations. Yeah. Jyoti and Vivek, were you answering for this question or the last question? I was not very sure. Jyoti?
Last question.
All right, okay.
W. Fitzpatrick, Director of Avian Ecology at the Archbold Biological Station.
Okay, answers have come. B, D, B, D. So, yeah, they vary between B, D. Okay, lot of B's. A1, B2, C4, 3. Okay. So let's see what the answer is. This B. Yeah, it's BC3. Yeah. All right. So this was from from the lectures itself. Yeah. Mughal period is when the paintings of dodos and saras crane was painted by Ustad Mansoor. 1862, T.C. Jordan's book. 1900, Book of Indian Birds by Salim Ali. And the past 50 years, a lot of sub-disciplines have come up in the field of ornithology. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of them have answered D, 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 D. Yeah. All right. So knowledge of taxonomy and classification is critical because, yep, A, B, and C, all of the above. So the answer is all of the above. I'm giving a lot of simple questions, I suppose. All right, so most of the answers in the initial are B, and then it turns to C, again B. So yeah, so people are divided between B and C. So yeah, so Charles Sibley, so the answer is, I'll tell you, yeah, Hans Gedau. And he's the one who came up with the 40 taxonomic characters for bird classification, ranging from all the morphological features. Um, uh, but Sibley is the guy who, Sibley and Alquist, both of them came up with the phylogenetic tree of the birds. The yeah, and Grimmett is the person whose book, the Book of Indian Subcontinent, is what we use. The Inskip Grimmett and Inskip book is something that we have been, the birders must be aware of. So that's the guy Grimmett. So yep, I'll move on to the next question here. Okay, did I get the answers, or is it stuck now? Oh no, I am getting answers. I'm so sorry. Okay, 8B. Yes, Sibley for DNA related classification. Yes. So 8B, 8B. Yeah. Most of you have given the right answer. Yeah, it is 8B. Electrophoresis of egg white proteins was the first one. DNA hybridization second technique was the second, and the gene sequencing, which came later on. So the answer is B. Oh. Can people see the screen now? Yeah, okay. All right. Sorry, power problems. Yeah. The next question is on the screen. Yes, Kishore, you want to say something?
Excuse me, how do I put these A, B, C? How do I put it? I'm not able to put. Hello.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's A, but how do I put A? I'm not able to put this A. How do I put this?
Okay, do you on your screen do you see like a it's called a chat box.
Chat box.
Yeah.
Where is chat box?
Okay.
Where is chat?
So do you see the icon with people and 53 written on top of it? Right next to it is there's a SMS icon.
What 53? Where is that?
That's the number of people that have joined this.
Right. So where?
Next
Yeah.
to that
Okay.
is an SMS icon. If you click on that, the chat box opens. In call messages, chat with
In
everyone.
call chat. No, I'm so bad at this.
That's
My
okay.
God.
That's okay. So if you click on the chat box, I mean the SMS icon, the chat box
Right.
will automatically open on your right of the screen. Did it open?
Okay. One sec. So sorry. Oh my God.
The right bottom.
Right bottom. Oh yeah. Okay.
You see four, right?
Yeah.
Next to
In
that
call
is
messages. I have to put on in call messages.
No, you don't have to type. You just have to click on the icon.
Click on the icon A, B, C, D. Either A, B, or C or D.
No. Okay. Speech bubble. Yeah, that's what Rusbe is talking. I mean, I'm sorry. So they're saying it's called speech bubble or SMS icon. I mean, I don't know.
It's the second icon from the right.
Yeah.
Click that.
Okay. Up on top of the screen or below the screen?
On
Bottom,
the
bottom right.
Bottom of the
Bottom
screen.
right.
Bottom right. Yeah.
Bottom. Yeah, there is a hand there.
That's no.
No.
He is using the Google Meet on mobile, if I'm not wrong.
Oh,
This is Google Meet. So
Yeah.
So sir,
I'm
do you
not-
see, Tarin sir, do you see any SMS like icon there or chat like icon there on the screen
That's
when you
a- I mean,
click on
yes.
the screen?
You can use the
I'm
in-call messages on the phone because I'm using it on the phone as well. And
In-call
in-call messages
messages
is the
on the-
right. Yes.
What is in-call messages? Where is that? In-call messages to the right.
So
So
the bottom
click
right, you'll
on
see
the
three
bottom
dots.
right, three dots.
The three dots. In-call message. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Then is
Okay. I got it. So thanks a lot.
Great.
Thank you
Please
so
don't
much.
miss that.
Great. That's so great.
Oh my God.
Thank you. I mean, thank you everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So cool. All right. So the answer, yeah, I think a lot of people have said the answer. Answer is 44. So according to Dr. Jayapal, it can also be 46. So the number of orders in class A's is 44. The answer, yeah. Tarun sir, are you able to answer the? Yeah, I think I saw one of your answers from the last question. Cool. All right. So yes, the answer is D. Oh, oh no. So sorry. Think I made a mistake over here. B2, C3. Yeah, I made a mistake. Sorry, it's D the answer. Um,
Yeah, D, right?
yeah. Just all right. So sorry about that. D is the answer. Yeah. Okay. The next question.
What is homoplasy?
It's from the lecture. The answer. I'll explain. Let the others answer. Not that I know much. Okay. The answer is sunbirds and hummingbirds. So, homoplasy is basically convergence of features, uh, which which do not have to have the same origin. So, hummingbirds and sunbirds don't have the same ancestors as such, but they have different ancestors, but they do have similar morphological features for similar kinds of feeding behavior. Like both sunbirds and hummingbirds uh, feed on nectar, the flower nectar, and they have particular shape of bills to feed on them. So that's what homoplasy is. So, but they are not. Their ancestors are different in that sense. So sunbirds and spider hunters have the same. Yes, bats and birds. So basically, it's more to do with the convergence of the features, the morphological features, based on the ecological where it stands in the ecological the niche of the animal. Swifts and hummingbirds are of the same clade, are within the same clade, and yeah. So I hope that
Thank you very much.
yeah. Muskan, it could be a convergent evolution. I mean, they are both happening independently. So, and they come, and they have. I mean, they get to have similar features. Uh, yeah, homoplasy. It's opposite to homology. Homology is where they have the same ancestors, but the features turn out to be have turn out to have a different purpose. Like the hands in humans, the fins in dolphins, and the wings in bats are homologous organs. They have different purposes. They do different. They have different. Yeah, they're used for different purposes, but they have the same origin in that sense. So that's homology, and that's the opposite of homoplasy. Convergent evolution and homoplasy, different things. Adi is asking. Okay. I suppose we can write down these questions so that we can ask the experts. Sorry, I'm just an ecologist, not an evolutionary biologist. So Adi, if you want, you can also uh, put down your question on the discussion forum, and I suppose Jayapal is very quick at answering these things, so it would be very really helpful. But as far as I know, convergent evolution and homoplasy are, yeah, of course, they are not two different things, but I can be wrong. Okay, the answer to question 12, what are the challenges of taxonomists in defining a species? People usually said D. There isn't an answer which is not D. So I suppose everyone knows what polymorphism is. Polymorphism is when the same species have different morphological features, say color or beak length or something of that sort, but they remain the same species. And then there is cryptic species. There are two or three species that live in the same area, live in the same region, but and they look very similar to each other, but but they um, they do not breed with each other. They don't. Yeah. So that is cryptic species. They are actually two different species which have been or which were considered as the same species for a really long time. And then there is hybrids, which is two which is which is breeding between two different species, creating a hybrid individual with the morphological features or anatomical features of both the species, which might seem to be a different species from both the parent species. So they unless people know what people are very clear about it, they would, I mean, it people do have the gene information, genetic information about the hybrid species. It would most likely be considered a different species, morphologically speaking. So these are the things that are challenges for taxonomists in defining a species. So the answer is all of the above. Yeah, Priya Jagtap says liger. Liger is a hybrid species, but liger is a very. I have to say that liger is not a natural entity. It never happened in nature. It was only liger came to be in existence only in a zoo. Apart from liger, there was a, yeah. Slaty headed parrot. Yeah, that's a good example that was there in the lecture. That actually, but that also, yeah, that also happened in captivity, is what I understand or what I remember. But I'll have to, yeah, confirm. Species of birds that are still existing on Earth, that are not existing anymore on Earth. Species with a global distribution or a cosmopolitan distribution, none of the above. Extinct birds. American and Cuban crocodile. Wow. Very unique example, but I'm not sure of the example though. I'm sorry, Govind. If that's the example, then I'm sure you must be right. Okay, so most of you are answering A, B, some are answering C. All right, let's see what the answer is. So extinct bird are the species that are still existing on Earth, as opposed to extinct bird, which is a species that is not existing on Earth anymore. And no, it's not a species with global cosmopolitan distribution. By the way, I mean, do we know of bird species that are extinct and not extant anymore? Bird species. I'm not talking about dinosaurs. I'm not talking about the theropods. I'm talking about the bird species which have recently got extinct. Pink-headed duck, dodo, moas. Yes, passenger pigeon, ivory-billed woodpecker, Himalayan quail. Has it been declared that it's extinct? I'm not sure. Janavi said. All right, lot of examples. People can look in the chat box for more examples. We move to the question 14. Yeah, so the answer is divided, kind of divided. 14C. B, C, C, D, C, 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 D, D. 14C to 14D. All right. So, can someone tell me why do people think it's B, C, or D? Does anyone want to explain that? Why is their answer the odd one out in the pair?
Because they don't form a clade or they are not very close phylogenetically. I'm not sure if it's C or D actually.
All right. Yeah. So basically,
C and D habitats are totally different, I guess.
storks and vultures have the same habitats. Are you saying that? Or nightjars and swifts have the same habitat? Swifts are mostly in the air. Nightjars mostly on the ground. In fact, pigeon and sandgrouses also have different habitats. Sandgrouses mostly on the ground. Pigeons mostly on the trees. Anyways, yeah, I think what we are. The answer is D. All the above A, B, C do fall in the same clade, whereas storks and vultures do not fall in the same clade. So that is the reason why it's the odd one out amongst the.
What is clade?
Clade is okay. So you did so clade is where the species are at the end and clades have the same ancestors. I mean, one can say they have the same ancestors. So all the species in the clade would have same ancestors. Is that acceptable answer?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, is it not having the same ancestor?
Sorry, what?
Sir, is it the node which is having the same ancestor?
Yeah. The node is the ancestors that's what we're talking about. Yeah. The node is where the ancestor sits in the phylogenetic tree. Jyoti says food. Jyoti, is it time for dinner, or why did you mention food over here?
The
Maybe
food
time
are
for dinner.
different. Vulture and this one's
Stop.
Stokes food.
Yep, I think a lot of people have said C. Some of them have said B as the answer. B, D. Okay, so in this question, what we are looking at is there's a biogeographical region, and in the column 2, there is the number of species of the birds in this biogeographical region, and so okay, so I mean, not looking at the table, which biogeographical region do people think has the highest avian birds biodiversity or species richness?
Western Ghats.
Western Ghats has the highest diversity. All right. Anybody else? Some say
Eastern Himalayas.
Eastern Himalayas. Yeah, actually, the answer, sir, is Eastern Himalayas. Western Ghats has a good biodiversity, but it comes second when it comes to in India. So it's large and more likely to be diverse. Not necessarily, Govind. I think there are other reasons for it to be diverse.
Well, not really, sir. What I meant was both the Western Ghats and Eastern Himalaya are known for their species richness, but the Eastern Himalayas is comparatively larger than the Western Ghats.
Are you sure
So
that's the only reason? I understand. I
that
mean, that's a good
is
reason.
that's one reason, sir, and plus the way in which the Indian subcontinent collided with the Asian plate and formed the Himalayas is also a reason, since both species from either side were able to mingle.
Yeah. So, what is it called? Yeah, I mean, there are actually three regions from which the species have come into the Eastern Himalayas. The Chinese, then there is the ones coming from the Myanmar region, and ones coming from the Indian region. So yeah, so that gives it that is the reason why it has the highest biodiversity. So and Lakshadweep, like it's been discussed multiple times in the discussion forum as well, that why Lakshadweep has the lowest biodiversity. So the answer is C. Yeah. Janvi says temperature of the Himalayas is one aspect for species richness. Why do you say that, Janvi?
Sir.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay, so I would, I mean, could you call me Jobin? Would be, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, most of the people. I mean, most of my audiences, I have no idea what the age range is. But it would be better and more professional if you call me Jobin, not sir. I'm just a TA. I'm not the faculty as well. I suppose even the faculty doesn't want them to be called sir.
Yeah, Janvi is supposed to answer the question.
Yeah,
the point she made.
Well,
yeah,
my
Govind,
question.
Yeah.
Well, my question was that which habitat, Eastern Himalaya, Western Ghats, or the other two, which one of them has the most species richness in relation to their size?
See
I
that
mean,
way. That way, Gangetic Plain is huge. It's much larger than both the Himalayas and the Western Ghats. No.
yes, sir. What I meant was, what I meant was that the Western Ghats is comparatively smaller than both A and C,
Sure.
but it still boasts a very high species richness. So, comparatively speaking, wouldn't that make the Western Ghats also a bit higher?
No, we are not looking at the species density or richness density or something. We are looking at just the number of species for now. I understand what you're talking about. So if you're talking about like the density of the species per hectare or something, then you're saying that Western Ghats probably would have higher species richness in that sense. I, I I'm not sure if that still holds true because Eastern Himalayas have like 1.5 times the species richness of Western Ghats. Govind?
I think we keep on discovering new species in the in the Eastern Himalayas.
Yeah. The last one was
Some Coachella or something. Coachella. COCH. Coachella.
purple and green Coachella.
Yeah.
Coachella or
No, no Coachella. What was it? No, some. Oh,
it was something that was there are two species in the mountains and one like there were two species, one in the mountains, one in the plain. I forgot.
Liu Chilla. Correct. Liu Chilla.
Oh, Bugun Leo Chichla.
Yeah.
Bugun Leo Chichla is actually was discovered in the 2000s. There is one more that has come in Himalayas. I forgot the name. Do people know that name? No, don't not Bugun Leo Chichla. Something else. There's a one more species that has come after one more species that have been discovered, or rather,
It was a warbler. I think it was a small warbler. No,
yeah,
wasn't it?
it was not a warbler. It was more like a medium-sized bird, something like a pipit, but I'm not sure. Like a thrush, yeah. Oh, it was a thrush. It was a mountain thrush and a plain thrush or something. That's the name. I can be wrong, but if people want to go back and look into it, there is after Bugun Leo Chichla, there was one more. I mean, after Bugun Leo Chichla and your Sholakilis, there were more bird species that have been been discovered in India as such. So yeah, Govind, I'm not sure if I've answered your question, but if you want, you can type that in the chat box and go ahead. I suppose Suhel or Raja would be able to answer that much better. But yes, the answer is there on the screen. The highest is Eastern Himalayas with 831, Western Ghats with 586. Gangetic Plains with 505 and Lakshadweep with 81. So, can't think of anything concrete at the moment, but I don't know if I'm right or wrong. So, Janvi has, so I said temperature because it's diverse because of the ecology, birds prefer colder climates. So, okay, Janvi, temperature was one of the reasons why people said the tropics have more biodiversity, but what they meant was temperature was higher and thus the productivity is higher because of the higher temperature. Himalayas are colder and in fact they are much similar to the temperate climates in that sense because they are aseasonal but still much colder and so technically they should have less of biodiversity but yeah, I mean that answer as was discussed by Sahas in the last yesterday's yesterday's talk, if you remember, if you guys have attended that talk, he did say that the question is still pending and nobody knows for sure what is the reason why certain tropical regions have this high biodiversity while temperate I mean, there is no particular answer to it. There are like several theories, but no particular answer. Temperature was more stable. That is what I was saying. I mean, I was saying is the seasonal climate of the tropics. All right. Next. Biju says plant richness, altitude range, and density of human population could be reason for high species richness in eastern Himalayas. Biju, if you do get a paper that says all these things, please share the next time. I am not very sure of. Yes, density of human population makes sense. Plant species richness does make sense. But yes, if you do get a paper, do tell me. So everyone knows what endemic species are, right? I mean, can someone tell me what they are? What they mean?
Restricted to one area, one region, or one area.
So the distribution is restricted to one area.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Endemic meaning they are only found in that area. I mean, endemic, just like we know the word pandemic, so we got to know endemic. I mean, it's restricted to a particular area.
Yes.
Just something.
Native species.
Praveen, you saying something?
Native species.
Native species. All right. Yeah, different definitions.
Yes.
Yeah. But what I understand is endemic species are restricted, yeah, definitely restricted to a particular region, and not found in any other region is also one of the reasons. So, and endemic can have different definitions based on what we are talking about. Sometimes people say endemic to India, then that would mean that political boundary is taken into consideration. So anything that is in India but not in Pakistan could, or Bangladesh, could be endemic to India. But when it comes to region, when it comes to biogeographical region, people say Indian subcontinent is like a one biogeographical. So that would include countries of Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan. So that entire endemic to that Indian subcontinent could also mean one thing, and endemic to India could mean a different thing. So I suppose, yeah, it's opposite of pandemic. Okay, wow. So
I have add on to this. I don't know whether it's the right answer, but what I think is also the habitat which can survive only in that particular place. Is that right?
I'm not sure. So you're saying that there is a particular habitat where the animal survives, and that's why it's stuck to. Okay. So if so name one endemic species.
Like this snow tiger, it can live only in Himalayas, where if it moves out of from that particular place may die
Okay, I'm not
or
sure.
it can't survive.
I'm not sure what a snow tiger is. Are you talking about a snow leopard or a snow tiger?
Leopard, yeah, sorry, snow leopard.
Okay, snow leopard, you're saying that they won't be able to survive somewhere else. So, okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying mountains. Okay, okay, I understand that. But there are other mountains, Himalayas, or there are Atlas mountains. I mean, or there are Andes mountains, which also have snow-capped peaks. So if I take the snow leopard and put it over there, would it be able to survive? Do you think so? I mean, there are, so if you're talking about food and all, if you have Ural and other goats or other sheep or other ungulates over here, I'm pretty sure Andes also has the same, different kinds of ungulates, but they are there. So would the snow leopard be able to survive there? It's a very philosophical good discussion that we are having, but yeah, you can just.
Okay, thank you.
No, so that's what I mean. Yes, I understand. That is one point. Like for example, something as unique as I'm not sure if people have heard of Shola Sky Island. Dr. V.V. Robin works in that. So Shola Sky Island is like the mountain tops of the Western Ghats, which is usually a different kind of a habitat or habitat mosaic that is found at 1400 meters and above in Western Ghats. So unlike the others, unlike the lower elevation, lower than 1400, the habitat over here is the landscape over here is quite unique. They have forest and grasslands, which are both the climactic, which are like the climax of that particular region. So like none of them, I mean, both of them are found over here, and the temperature is also low, and that's why there's like a very unique set of animals that survive over here. So yes, you can say that if it is the shola killies or the laughing thrushes that survive over here depend on shola forest for their survival. But my research that I'm doing right now says that most of these birds can also be found and thriving, in fact thriving in habitats other than the shola forest, like plantations for example. So does that not make them endemic, or I mean, something to think about. I'm not saying it's a wrong or right answer, but something to think about.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just taking up from this discussion, what about the species that probably was introduced into an area and it's extinct from where it originated, but it's found in a new place where they were introduced, where it was introduced?
Well,
Can we call that endemic?
That is no, that's not endemic. Actually, that's a non-native species that have been brought into a new area.
Right.
But that's a very interesting thing. Like most of the pet trade that happens. So people now proudly proudly display their pets, the bird pets particularly, in their Instagram videos and reels and all. And some of them are actually having birds which are almost extinct in their native habitats. Like for example, there's this species called conure, which is like a sun parakeet, which is found in South America, and a particular kind of a parakeet, sun parrot, which is almost extinct, and it is found in a very small area in South America, and it's almost extinct over there because of the pet trade and everything. But a lot of people have that particular bird as pets. So I'm not sure if you count the population of these birds across the world, the birds in the natural habitat is less, but across the world is high. Same with the tigers, for example. I suppose there was a study that happened where people who are having tigers as pets in America is actually the number of tigers in America as pets is much higher than the number of tigers in India, I suppose. Or yeah, it was a study that I read like a long time back. I'm not sure about the numbers, but yeah, something to think about again. But yeah, it was a nice discussion. So we'll go on to the next question. Yes, so Andamans have the highest biodiversity, endemic biodiversity, followed by Western Ghats, followed by Eastern Himalayas, followed by Western Himalayas. So, sorry, who was Govind? You were saying something about the Eastern Himalayas and the area, and Western Ghats and the area, or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I mean, do you not see like a weird thing about some? I mean, the number of endemic species is much less in Eastern Himalayas than in Western Ghats over here, even though the number of species as in total is much higher than Western Ghats.
I actually think it makes sense.
Why? Could you explain?
Because, well, the Andaman Islands, they are they are the most likely to be to have the highest endemic species since they are islands. Islands are cut off from the rest of the world. Endemism is the norm and in islands, and they're not found anywhere else. The second, Western Ghats is also comparatively isolated compared to other habitats. The Eastern Himalayas, despite its high diversity, is connected to the large forests of Southeast Asia, which means even though it has high diversity, the species can spread to places like Malaysia and Thailand and parts of Indonesia.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, Govind makes sense. There's I mean, somebody Saptarshi has written, is endemism related to island biogeography theory? Yes, endemism is related to island biogeography theory. The um, how island biogeography theory is actually basically says that number of species depends on the distance and the area of the island, if I'm not if I'm not wrong. So I mean, more the distance of the island from the mainland, more the time that the island has been separated from the mainland, and more the area or yeah area yeah more the area of the island. That would mean that it would have more endemic species, according to theory. Practically, how much it happens is something that I'm not very sure of. Extinct in the world, extinct in the wild. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Texas has about 5,000 tigers. Somebody has checked on the internet, I suppose, and yeah, Texas has 5,000 tigers, much more than what we have. We have like what 1,400 tigers or something. So Ronnie Emmanuel has said, is asking basically that Lakshadweep is not an island, and why is the reason for low biodiversity? I suppose Jayapal has, I mean, Raja Jayapal has answered this question like a multiple times. I suppose you can go through the videos, but as far as I know, Lakshadweep is also the origin of the islands are very different. Andaman and Nicobar Islands are part of the mountains that come or that are connected to the southeast countries, one of the southeast countries, Indonesia, I suppose. And Lakshadweep is a coral reef, as far as I know, as far as I understand, and which doesn't have a very long history. So the origin of the islands could also do something, I mean, with the number of species that it can contain. So because it's not a very old island, there is a very good probability that it would never have as many species as the older islands. So because of the time that it has actually that it has been in existence for. It's the 17th question. People are saying, okay, the answer for 17, are people giving the answers? No. Oh yes, they are. Eh, So, can people tell me why are these birds important in these particular? I mean, answer. I mean, the answer can be anything, but why are these birds important and to these particular bioregions or biogeographic areas? Rishikesh says once thought extinct, critically endangered. I don't think Sin Sparrow is critically endangered. It's actually least concern, as far as I know. I did check like 3 days back. I can be wrong though. As a barometer for ecology, Purna Paul and Govind say endemic, which is something, yeah, which is what the answer that I was looking for. Excuse me. So all of these birds that we're talking about are endemic to a particular region, and so Sin Sparrow is not from India, but it's endemic to the Indus Plain. Some of like if we talk about the not the political boundary but the biogeographical boundary, then probably it's endemic to Indus Plain. It is found both in Pakistan and India, so it doesn't, yeah. And then yellow-throated bulbul found in southern Deccan plateau, where in mostly in the Eastern Ghats, people are coming up with new instances of yellow-throated bulbul in the Western Ghats as well. Then southern Pradesh. Can someone tell me which is the endemic species to southern Andhra Pradesh? Sorry, I can be wrong. I'll just get the answer. Yeah. So the answer is central India has forest owlet. B is one. Southern Andhra Pradesh has Jordan's Kosa. South Deccan has yellow-throated bulbul, and Indus Plain has Sin Sparrow. Yes. Harini and Adyati says. Ecotypes. What do you mean by that, Saptarshi? Saptarshi, what do you mean by ecotypes? Okay, I'll just move on to the next question. Should stop giving all of the above answers. I'm not sure, Saptarshi. I mean, I'm not sure if Fin Sparrow would have an ecotype or not. Yes, they are endemic to the Indus Valley, which has, I mean, now the Indus Valley is like the whole of Pakistan is Indus Valley, so I'm not sure. I mean, it has a particular habitat that it prefers, but yeah, I mean, you're most welcome to look it up, Fin Sparrow, in Birds of World. I'm pretty sure people are aware of this website. If people, yeah, I suppose people are aware of this website. It's free for India right now. So if you can go to the website, you can get the information about all the birds of the world, and you can type the name of the bird, and it would contain the current information that is available for that particular bird till now. So Okay, so the coming back to the question, the characteristics common between reptiles and birds, both have nucleated red blood cells, both have heterogametic sex, and oogenesis is common to both taxa. Uh, I mean, people. I hope people are aware of what these terms are. What does nucleated red blood cells mean?
RBCs are generally devoid of nucleus, but nucleated RBCs means it consists of specific nucleus in them.
Yes, perfect. Muskan is totally right. RBCs in mammals is devoid of nucleus, but in birds and reptiles they have nucleus. So that is one good similarity between the both. Then what is heterogametic sex? Miles? Sorry, Saptarshi?
I think the production of two types of spermatozoa.
Two types of what?
Spermatozoa.
Spermatozoa. Okay.
Like is that and is that W type of?
Yes. So basically, like humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, right? So they have 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs of chromosomes, but the sex chromosome has is yeah has XX in the females and XY in the males. Please correct me, people who are much more knowledgeable about this, if I'm wrong. But yeah, humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. The sex chromosome, which is the 23rd chromosome, has XX in females and XY in males. As this is opposite in the birds and the reptiles, where the females are ZW and the males are ZZ, if I'm not wrong. So, yeah, the females are heterogametic. ZW becomes Z and W, two different chromosomes, whereas females are homogametic in mammals. Oogenesis is very straightforward. Like they produce eggs, and it's common to both the taxa. Both reptiles and birds produce eggs, unlike mammals and other even insects produce eggs. But yeah, so the answer is all of the above. Yes, Govind, you want to say something?
Well, I've always had this question. What do the different letters indicate, right? For birds and reptiles, you mentioned that it's ZW and ZZ, whereas for humans it's XX and XY. Why can't what do the different letters Z and W mean?
Well, actually, I have absolutely no idea. But uh, uh, in humans, you can see that the chromosomes are shaped like an X, and the male chromosome, the XY, there's one shorter chromosome with the normal chromosome that the sex chromosome has, and that is almost shaped like a Y. So that could be one of the reason. But for more details, I think you'll have to contact someone like Dr. V.V. Robin, who's actually working on the DNA and the chromosomes and stuff like that. So when his class comes, I think you can ask.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. I'll move on to the next question. Oh yeah. So before a question, I just want to make sure that people are aware of these the period on the earth that people usually talk about a lot. Like people mention that Cretaceous, Jurassic, Triassic, and do we even know the sequence? So I just wanted to say that there's this I'm not sure what it's called, but yeah, geographical time scale. There's this phrase that you can memorize just to know what comes first. So it's called camels often sit down carefully, perhaps their joints creak. So camels is Cambrian, often Ordovician, sit is Silurian, down is Devonian, carefully is Carboniferous, perhaps is Permian, then Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. This might help you in learning like the sequence of the geological time scale, which yeah, which might be helpful in the future if you are actually studying about these things. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Cool. The 19th question. Yes, Rusbe. Yeah, no need to tell us. I mean, you can drop out if you want to. Yeah, so theropod origin of birds. What is not an evidence of theropod origin of birds is okay. Let's just most of you have answered A, increased bone density. Some of you have answered C and B. Yeah, the answer is A, increased bone density. Actually, the evidences of theropod origin of birds is reduced bone density, reduction in caudal vertebrate, pelvic girdle got really strengthened, which is this region, and then fused clavicle called the furcula. Furcula is the wishbone. All right, those two anatomical. So yeah, but the A answer, I mean the A option should have been reduced bone density. Why reduced bone density? Because the birds are taking into the air and they would require a lesser density of bones to be able to fly. So yeah. It's okay, Vidya. I mean, this session is being recorded, so it will be uploaded, so you can. So Thecodont and theropod origin. So the theory says that theropod origin. Thecodont is like a slightly older. The ancestors of birds have a slightly older, even before uh, in the beginning of the Jurassic age or Triassic age, when Thecodont and theropod are different kinds of dinosaurs. So Thecodont have lived like much before the theropod, and yeah, people have different theories where they say that birds have originated from theropod, and some theories say that birds have originated from thecodonts. Um, so yeah, and then there's arboreal and cursorial. Anyone wants to explain what arboreal and cursorial are?
Arboreal was, I think, the top-down or tree-down approach for flight, and cursorial was from the ground upwards, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you're right. So that's one of the theories of the origin of flight, like how the birds got into flight. And then there was the scientist who, okay, yeah, who realized that the Himalayan chukka bird they actually moved up the mountains to be able to fly. So there's this other theory that is not arboreal, not cursorial, but yeah.
Kane dial, right?
Sorry?
Scientist was Kane dial.
Yes. Yeah. And Big Bang and gradualism theories. Does anyone want to explain what that is?
My just thought is that I think during the Big Bang, it was supposed that most of the species have become extinct, and only few remained that I think uh, grew to larger number of species, maybe 20% or so. They grew larger number, and gradualism theory is more about there were few species from the. I'm not very sure about that thing, but yeah, Big Bang is what I remember.
Yeah, Big Bang is basically the explosion of the few number of species. There was like a huge extinction of species that happened during the KT explosion, the KT. The
KT.
Yeah. And because of that, there were several niches that became empty, and because the niches were empty, there was this huge explosion of species taking up their positions in those particular niches wherever they can. So when I say niches, I hope people understand what I'm talking about. So like once the dinosaurs got extinct, there were niches like somebody has to scavenge, somebody was a carnivore, somebody was a herbivore, somebody was a omnivore. So all these are niches, or could be other things as well. Lived in the tree canopy, some individuals lived in the ground, some individuals lived rather in the middle canopy. So these are all kinds of niches that got empty once the dinosaurs got extinct. So after that, there were these niches that got empty, and there were like abundance of food, and so probably the animals took onto these niches and adapted or evolved into these niches, and became like a large number of species. So that's what Big Bang theory says. I mean, Big Bang in terms of avian origin, they say that modern birds origin, they say that is the reason. Gradualism is where nothing happened abruptly. It all happened like in a very gradual pace. Species formed, and there wasn't. Basically, it's saying that there wasn't like a big explosion of number of species or anything. It's just how it usually happens. So that's the gradualism theory. There were several arguments for both of these theories. So yeah, the answer is A1. Thecodont and theropod is the origin of birds. Arboreal and cursorial is for the origin of flight, and Big Bang and gradualism theories are for the origin of modern birds. Govind is asking, is that Big Bang adaptive radiation? Yes, Big Bang theory in this context talks about adaptive radiation. Yes. Yep, Govind, you almost gave away my next question's answer. Suppose everyone's giving the answer because yeah, it was. So what's common between these bird groups? Hawaiian creepers, Darwin's finches, and wangas in Malagasy. The answer is adaptive radiation. So yeah, so possible explanation: some particular bird or group of birds where I mean came from a different from a mainland to a particular island where they had uh, enormous number of niches that were open for them to adapt to, and thus they became like a lot more species than they were initially, and that is what adaptive radiation in a nutshell means. So wangas are some birds like that has been adapted in the Malagasy Islands, and I think it is being studied by a scientist called Dr. Sushma Reddy. If you look her up, she has a lot of papers on wangas. Darwin's finches and Hawaiian creepers. Hawaiian creepers are also studied regarding the avian malaria. If you want to read up on that, I suppose you can. Yeah, 22nd question. Rishikesh is ACD. Oh, which is not. Okay, so we did discuss about adaptive radiation. Philoscopus or leaf warblers, as they are commonly called, also show like a bit of adaptive radiation, specifically in Himalayas. And Trevor Price and his team, Trevor Price is still active in Eastern Himalayas, and his paper in 1992 looked at the several axes in which the leaf warblers diversified, and they found that prey size. Okay, let me just give you the answer first. Yeah, the prey size, habitat type, and feeding behavior are the three axes along which the diversification happened. There was nothing about the predator behavior. Um, yeah, so That's the answer for this. B is not such an, yeah, okay. 22, the answer was B.
What do you mean by axis?
Okay. So, okay. So, it has a very deep answer, but you know about x and y axis in a graph, right? Govind?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yes, that.
So it x and y could have any kind of variable. So suppose um, for me, I mean for a particular individual, what is hot and what is not hot. So that would depend on two things: the temperature at present and also the humidity. So temperature could be on the x-axis and humidity could be on the y-axis, right? So temperature would be like something like for a human being, says this is just an example. So above 12 and below 24 could be like a temperature range in which the human feels comfortable, above 14 or 15 or whatever you want to say. And humidity, say the up below 80 and above 40 is a humidity range that human feels comfortable. So those are the axes. If you look at the graph now, you'll see that there's a region that is formed, like that region would be like the perfect place for the human being to be, to feel not feel uncomfortable, particularly regarding temperature. Are you following? Are we clear about this part?
Yes.
Yeah. Similarly, the axes over here is prey size, habitat type, and feeding behavior. So prey size is basically this axis. Prey size could be as small as 1 mm or even less than that, 0.5 mm, and it could go on to as big as your lizards, which are in centimeters, or your snakes, which are in meters. So those are, I mean, but in case of leaf babbler, it won't go to that extent. It would remain in a few centimeters, right? And then there could be another axis in y, on the y-axis, which could be the habitat type. This could be more of a categorical variable rather than a continuous variable like the prey size. Categorical variable would mean the habitat type could be a dry habitat like your scrub forest. Then it could be like a wetter habitat like a moist deciduous forest, like it could be the wettest like the evergreen forest or something like that. Or it could even be a habitat type based on the temperature, but that could be more of a categorical variable. Then there could be another axis which could be the z axis, which is like the perpendicular to both x and y, which could be the feeding behavior, which would mean that it can again be one of those categorical variables where the feeding behavior is basically, is the bird gleaning, like is it picking the food from the bark or the leaf, or is the bird sallying, that is basically it is catching the birds prey in the air, or is the bird what are the other I'm not sure, yeah, I can't remember more of feeding behavior, but that, or feeding behavior could also mean where is the bird feeding. Is it feeding on the outer edge of the tree, or is it feeding in the inner edge of the tree, or is it feeding on like in middle somewhere? Is it feeding on the leaves, or is it feeding on the trunk, or is it feeding on the ground, or does it always remain in the canopy? So these could be like the several categories on that axis, yeah, parameters.
So the factors.
Yeah, the factors. So that could form like if you want, you can look at this thing called mm, uh, niche, NICHE, and the niche can give you like several other terms, like it's a niche. People generally think that niche is like two or three axes, but there are like several axes. So right now I could only explain to you three axes, but if there is another parameter that comes into the play, like another variable, what would that where would that fit? Like I suppose we can't visualize it, but the n hyperbole, yeah, that's yeah, that's the theory. It's called basically it's the yeah, it's like the theory is like there could be more than three or four axes on which the niche of a particular individual or a species can be formed. So I think you can look it up. So those are the axes that I'm talking about. Is it okay? The explanation, Govind, are you satisfied?
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. All right. How are people saying D? Okay, would someone explain why is the answer D? Am I missing something? Okay, so this is from one of the reading materials. I suppose. I think it's time you also look. Okay, I thought because for flamingos and pelicans are both large water birds. Till now, I think you should have. I mean, it should be clear by now that the extant bird species, what is their habitat and how, what is their body size, does not have to do any. I mean, at least to a large extent, on the origin of those birds. So, like if pelicans and flamingos are seen together in this world and in this time and period, doesn't mean that pelicans and flamingos have to have the same original ancestors. Are we clear on this? It could be the opposite. B as per the diagram. It's a clade with the waders. Flamingos and okay. Let's see what the answer says. Okay, the answer is A. It's a clade with pigeons. Actually, I'm also wrong. No, it is a clade with pigeon. Yeah. So, so Jarvis is the older phylogeny that is of the birds, and the Prumetal is the newer phylogeny, and okay, yeah. So Jarvis is the older phylogeny, and the Prumetal is the newer phylogeny. This is based on DNA studies and. Yeah, so then based on this, some 289 bird species were studied, and based on this, what was so people understand what this phylogenetic tree means, right? So so this particular is like a clade of pigeons, messetes, and sand grouses, then this particular could also be a clade of all turacos, cuckoos, bustards, pigeons, mesquites, and sandgrouses. So Jarvis initially said that flamingos and grebes, flamingos and grebes uh, were sitting with this. This is what it says: pigeons, mesquites, and sandgrouse. So flamingos were sitting with these initially, but after the study, they realized that it sits with the waders and not with the pigeons and sungrouses. That's what. So over here, I mean, this is like a question of just how to read a phylogenetic tree. Uh, the pigeons, mesquites, and sandgrouse. What is over here is the same over here. That it's pigeons, mesquites, and sandgrouse over here, and this is where the flamingos and grebes were, which has now shifted over here. Yeah. So the answer is pigeons. Yeah. I hope people got it. I'll move on to the next question. Yeah. Okay, the answer is bustards. Okay, so I messed up with this question, but yeah, the answer is cuckoos and bustards both. Proom et al. Is the recent phylogeny, and Jarvis is the older phylogeny. It was closer to bustards when in Jarvis, but the other question should have been where, then the answer would have been bustards. But right now, it is closer to cuckoos and bustards both. Yeah. So yeah. So the answer. Sorry, I'll just. If the question was this. Yeah, according to Jarvis et al., which family of birds were turacos closer to? So that the answer would have been, turacos are closer to bustards. Yeah. All right. So sorry about this thing. Okay, Sachin is asking, could you please explain? Sachin, with the recent, I mean, if I change the question like this, are you able to understand now? So according to Jarvis.
Yeah, I got that thing.
Sorry?
I got it. Earlier I was thinking from the earlier question perspective, which was Proom et al. And then I was thinking if there is really a correlation between the first species that is listed just below the Toracos, whether it will be related to that. But then after you rephrasing the question, it is clear that Toracos will be closer to bustards in Jarvis et al.
So yeah, I'm sorry about the mishap. I mean, it was a last minute question. Okay, so is there a specific reason for the vertical order of cuckoos and bustards in the diagram? Like, would it still be right if cuckoos came below bustards? It would still be right if cuckoos came below bustards. I think it's more to do with the length of that branch rather than where it is placed. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the extent to which I can explain you the phylogenetic tree. I am actually not very well versed with the phylogeny as such. I only know the basics. So this is the end of the this thing. I would like to ask you a few questions. Um, were the questions very easy, or should I increase the level of difficulty, or what is the general opinion? Not too easy. All right. Okay. So about right. Sure. Okay, that's a good feedback. I'll stick with the. I'll stick most. I mean, I'll stick with the lectures mostly. All these questions were from the lecture, except for the last two questions, which also I screwed up. But I'll stick with the lectures. But once in a while, I will bring up some questions from the reading materials. So be prepared for that. And I mean that is because I mean I encourage you to go and read the reading material that is given to you as well, because those contain a little more information other than what is in the lectures. So that's also very evenly weighted on both ends of the spectrum of difficulty. Okay, thanks, Adi. Okay, the other question that I was asking is, should I change the format in some sense? Like, are you okay with this question and answer kind of a technique, or would you rather have? Yes, please, Avdesh. Avdesh, you wanted to say something? You raised your hand. So Govind is saying, could use more species oriented or more speculative. What do you mean by that, Govind?
The questions could deal with the more species individually, yeah, or it could also be more like speculative, as though in such a situation what the
Understood. I understood. Yeah. I'll come up with those questions. The species individual I couldn't do because the first lecture was mostly introduction, and I didn't. Yeah, I mean, this is not something that I mean, I have been I deal with in my PhD as well. So I'm not really. I mean, somebody is doing a PhD on these things would be well versed with these kind. But yeah, I could come up with the question as much as possible, but. Yeah, from the next lecture onwards, I would be dealing with questions more species based and mostly Indian species based, so that yeah, that will take care of. Sometimes those reading materials are not freely available. I check the links giving some needed logins. Okay. Sachin, I can't help you with that. It's something that I can't record on this, but there are techniques of getting those papers. If you look at my no, if you look at my tabs, I don't think you'll find it, but there are other ways of getting those papers. But I think you should venture out, ask more people. I seriously can't give you away in this recorded session, because that would be illegal. So is this course to be done as a full-time student? Raghavan, yeah, this is NPTEL. It is a credited course. I mean, people would be using the certificate and saying that, hey, I have done basics in ornithology course, so I should be yeah. So it has to be treated like a full-time course if possible, but this would be just one subject. I mean, the students at IISER where I work, they have at least 8 subjects sometimes per semester in 6 months. So I mean, that would be a full-time student. This is just one course for 12 weeks. It's not exactly a full-time course, but yeah, probably you might have to give a little more attention to or a little more focus on these on the topics, and yeah, probably then. But don't worry, I mean, you would get used to the pace of the subject, and yeah, the questions would also be would rather become easier once you get to know about the subject. Yeah, so these were the questions that I wanted to ask. Thank you for clearing that, and that would bring us to the end of the session. Thank you for staying this long. I hope you come back again the next week. Any other question? I suppose you can post it on the discussion forum. Thank you again. I will stop the recording.